This podcast is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not intended to be a substitute for professional, medical, or any other type of advice. Have you found yourself asking, how did I get here in my life? And what happened to the magic and the life that I dreamed of? I have been there, and I was determined to figure out how I got there. I'm Cynthia Fontaine, and I searched in many areas of personal development, consciousness, personality profiles, healing, and more to find the secrets to getting my magic back and living my life on purpose, boldly and authentic. And now I am going to share those secrets with you. Welcome to Boldly Authentic, the podcast. This is episode 9, season 1 of the show. And in our last episode, I talked about energy, how you lose it, how you can clear it, how you can build it up, how you can keep your energy safe and keep other people's energies out of yours. If you missed the episode, go on back and take a listen. You'll find some valuable tools there. So this episode is also going to be about energy, but we're going to go a little bit in a different direction. In this episode, I want to talk about healing energy. Now, I have to give a disclaimer. I am not a medical doctor. I do not prescribe. I do not make diagnoses. I am a medical intuitive among all the many things that I do and have studied, but I have to give you that disclaimer. So what is healing work? And what is healing? Who are healers? Well, we can all be a healer. Have you ever seen a little kid who maybe their friend or their sibling falls and they scrape a knee or they get a bump and the other little person hugs them, or they'll kiss the boo-boo, or they'll put their hand on the boo-boo? Well, that's healing work. When we're children, we don't have a block to think that we need to do anything special. We just naturally know by putting our hands or kissing it, it's going to feel better. I first started studying healing work when my body started falling apart from delivering the mail. I was carrying a really heavy mail bag for years. I had a mail delivery route that was on foot. I walked on cement for 6 to 7 hours a day, carrying this heavy bag, climbing over 3,000 stairs a day, and covering probably about 7 miles any given day. So the body can get wear and tear, just like your car, right? The more miles you put on your car, the more often, generally, you have to send it into the repair shop. So my body was starting to accumulate a fair amount of miles and was starting to have some mechanical issues. And I wasn't really comfortable with the idea of having surgeries or taking medications that weren't natural and things like that. And one of my friends said to me one time, well, why don't you come to my Reiki circle? And I looked at her and I said, Reiki? What is Reiki? And she goes, well, just come to the circle. It's on Tuesday nights and you'll see. It's better to experience it than me try to explain it to you. So the following Tuesday night, I went to her house and went to the Reiki circle. Now, I did know a couple of other people in the circle, though I didn't know everyone. And I had no idea what to expect. I had no idea what they were doing. I just knew that I completely trusted my friend. And if she said this was good and this could help with the physical pain I was having in my body, I was going to try it out. The funny thing is, at the time, my daughter was having some trouble in school, and my friend who hosted the Reiki Circle happened to be a school teacher. And so she would take my daughter and have these little mini tutoring sessions with her while we were practicing Reiki within the group. So it was a double bonus because my daughter improved in school and I started learning energy medicine. One thing you should know about me is when I latch onto something, when I find there's value in something, I am going to run hard and go deep with it. I'll tell you, I ran hard and went deep with energy medicine and with Reiki. So I practiced every chance I could get. I became a certified Reiki Master. I actually did 2 certifications. And then from there, I went on to a 3-year Master Healer program for a healer certification. Like in my life, there will be people in your life who come into your life and who bring things to your life that will change your life in a way that you could never have imagined if you choose to trust and take a leap of faith. Now, I'm still friends with my friend, and I don't want to share her name because I didn't ask her for permission. She's moved since then. She's about 1,500 miles away. But I'm really lucky to see her generally about once a year, which is fabulous. And we still talk about those times when we would get together and practice the energy medicine. And sometimes she would read tarot cards and sometimes she'd do astrology. And she was so much fun. And she just made the whole thing so easy, so normal, that it really began to change my perspective on the esoteric world. I will be sharing my story of why I didn't want to do this work throughout the show as we go along. But my friend really changed my point of view and my perspective on this whole world of energy. Of course, because we are human beings, we have free will. So when there are opportunities that are presented to us, sometimes we're going to say no. And there were opportunities in my life where things had been presented earlier in my life. Abraham Hicks comes to mind when I think about that, Esther Hicks, where years and years and years before I actually started studying the work, one of my friends had given me a cassette tape of Abraham, Esther, and Jerry Hicks. And I had shoved it in the closet and I was like, yeah, whatever. Really, it wasn't resonating at the time. And then one day, can't remember if I was online or taking a class or something, but somebody was talking about this Esther and Jerry Hicks and Abraham. And as they're talking, I said, God, that rings a bell. That sounds so familiar. So my daughter says, Mom, don't you remember the 2 Debs gave you that cassette tape a long time ago? And I thought, oh, God, I said to her, no, I don't remember that. So I go to the shelf in my closet where I kept my cassette tapes. This was before CDs. And my books, and I pull things off the shelf. And sure enough, there's a cassette tape with Esther and Jerry Hicks. And Esther is channeling Abraham. And Jerry is asking Abraham questions. And it wasn't until many years later when I was ready to actually be open enough to allow the possibility of this to be something that could be valuable and helpful in my life. And I've had many times in my life where opportunities have presented themselves, but I wasn't ready. I wasn't in a space to be able to embrace the work at the time. And so it sat on a shelf. But then the opportunity came back around again at a later date. And when I was ready to take a look at it, and man, like I said, when I dive in, I dive in. So every book that I could get written by Esther and Jerry Hicks, every cassette tape, every program, I got my hands on and I devoured it. So this may be true for you also, where things have presented at different times in your life and you just weren't ready at the time to be able to move forward with that. I had to learn to cut myself a break if I found myself beating myself up thinking, oh, I could have learned this so much sooner. I would have been so much further ahead in my career and blah, 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 blah. Not positive energy. That is not going to add to your vibration in your energy field and lift you up. So you have to mind your energy. And in minding your energy, it's important that you mind your negative self-talk, your negative thinking along the way, so that you're not polluting your energy field up with negative vibes. There are themes and patterns that run through families. And I was unaware that one of the patterns that happened to run through my family is healing work. But I didn't actually know that until I was probably in my 40s, which I find to be very interesting. Now, there are negative patterns that run through families as well. And I'm going to have a special guest come on and we're going to talk about those things in the future. Though I was really interested in all this esoteric genre in the healing work with the Reiki, I went on to take some other types of healing work classes and so forth. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I had no idea. And then I started expanding and learning other things in the field of metaphysics. I was studying mediumship. I was studying psychic development. I was studying angel healing and all sorts of things. And at one point, I turned to a mentor and I said, Leroy, I don't understand why I'm learning all these things. None of it makes sense. And he looked at me and he said, little sister, just keep on learning. It'll all come together. And I carried that one sentence with me for many years. And he was right. It did all come together. But 20 years ago, I couldn't see that it was all going to come together or why I was learning so many different things. And even with the energy medicine, with the Reiki, I didn't work with people for a long time. I actually started working with horses first. And not only was I doing energy work and hands-on healing and Reiki with horses, but I was also doing animal communication because Spirit was smart. Knowing that I did not want to work with people, Spirit gave me the gift of animal communication. So I can actually hear animals' voices, and they sound just like we do. They all have their own individual voices with their own tone and quality to it. Anyway, I can do a lot of crazy things. It's interesting, which is great for a charismatic leader because we get bored doing the same thing over and over again. And that's one of the things I actually love about working with people now is every single session, even if I'm coaching with someone and they have multiple sessions, every single session is different every time. So it's really interesting for me. It keeps my interest and it always keeps me wanting to learn more. One of my daughter's riding instructors, horseback riding instructors, said one time to my daughter, always take lessons or learn from a coach or a teacher who is learning, because They will always have something to teach you. And I took that to heart, and I am always learning new things. I love to learn new things, and I have a lot of certifications to show you that I like to learn a lot of things. So what's the value of alternative healing or energy medicine? What's the value of seeing someone who does Reiki, someone who does craniosacral therapy, someone who does quantum touch, or there's many different modalities out there, polarity. There's tons of things that you could go and do out there for body work, for energy work. The value is, first of all, it's natural and it's not going to harm you. Second of all, it can do wonders for your healing, speeding your healing up, and also taking things beyond even what medical doctors might think you could recover from. For example, I shattered my leg and ankle, and I've got plates and pins and had to have a massive surgery. And I was in a wheelchair for 4.5 months. And the surgeon, who was wonderful, said to me, though, well, I hope at around the 1-year mark, you will be able to walk without an assistive device. And I looked at him and I said, what do you mean an assistive device? He said, well, a walker or a cane. I hope that you will be able to walk without a walker or a cane by the 1-year mark into your recovery. And I was stunned by that. I saw the x-rays of my ankle before, and I saw the x-rays in my leg of the x-rays of the ankle. I mean, I shattered the tibia, the fibia, the ankle. My ankle was dislocated and my foot was turned around backwards. It was bad. But I couldn't fathom seeing myself having to use an assistive device. I've always been super active. I was a gymnast. I used to rollerblade. I played football and baseball and volleyball and used to bike 12 miles a week. So I've always been super active. And I thought, wow, part of me is I like to defy the odds. And if somebody tells me I can't do something, you bet your bottom that I'm going to do exactly what they tell me I can't do. And so even though I was in a wheelchair for 4.5 months, once I was able to get up and start putting weight on the leg and start walking, 2, maybe 3 weeks later, just into the 5-month point, I was able to walk without an assistive device. I had amazing friends who I had gone to healer school with who would come and they would do energy work on me. I had friends who long distance would do energy treatments on me. They would do healing work. And it made such a massive difference in my recovery that the doctor was really amazed by how well I progressed and how quickly. Because like I said, he wasn't even sure I was going to be able to walk without a walker or a cane. So that was just one example how energy medicine, hands-on healing work, Reiki has made a huge difference in my life. And I have multiple stories of times in my life where it has made such a huge impact and made a big difference in my recovery, from a car accident to herniated discs in my neck to a torn shoulder. I've had a bunch of injuries, and I really believe, well, I know that it was all the different types of healing work that not only I learned, but that my friends and colleagues know that made the difference in my recovery and in my healing. So if that's something that you have thought about or considered taking Reiki or taking some type of healing workshop, I really encourage you to check it out and seriously think about it. It can be so beneficial, not only for yourself, but for your loved ones, your family members as well. You don't have to do it as a professional practice like I do, incorporate that into my work. But you don't have to become a professional and do this for a living. You can do it for your own benefit or for your family's benefit. So how would you find a good teacher? And this applies to whether it is to learn how to do healing work or psychic development or just in general. The first thing is, if a teacher says to you, my way is the best way or it's the only way, I would maybe reconsider and take a different teacher, find somebody else. I always say to my clients and my students, don't take my word for it. Try things out for yourself. See what fits for you and then leave the rest behind. Because, life is not a one size fits all. And I have a funny story about a one size fits all. So one time for one Christmas, my son's dad gets me these leggings. And I opened the package and they were about the size of a toothpick. And I'm not the size of a toothpick. And I looked at these leggings and I went, oh boy, how do I tell him in a nice way that these aren't going to fit? So I said to him, wow, these are really cute. I really love them, but I don't think they're going to fit. Well, he decided that he was going to show me that they could fit by putting them on himself. It was hilarious. He had to struggle. He struggled to squeeze himself into those leggings, but it was so funny. And then he went out and did the snowblower because we had this blizzard that particular weekend. And he went out and with the leopard print leggings and went out and snowblowed the neighborhood in the leopard print leggings. So that's just a funny story of one size fits all. One size does not fit all. In clothes, in the universe, in healing work, in psychic development, one size does not fit all. There are tons of teachers out there. Find the teacher that resonates with you. Find the course that resonates with you. Find the modality that resonates with you. Maybe you like angels. Maybe you like Reiki. Maybe you want to expand your psychic development. There are so many different things that you could do. So find a teacher that really makes sense for you, that you resonate with, and then go all in. Go for it. And again, you don't have to want to do this professionally or for a living. You could choose to if you wanted to, but go for it. Check it out. There are so many wonderful things where you could improve your life and help to improve others' lives as well, just by learning a new skill. If you're meant for this work, it will become easy for you. You will really enjoy it. You'll want to learn more of it. And if it's not for you to do as a profession, it might be a bit more of a struggle, or you won't find the pull to go all in, to take one class after another. Each one of us have come in with our own individual destiny and our own life purpose. Now, I know my life purpose has nothing to do with technology. I can tell you that 100% for sure. With all the things in my life, that is probably one of my biggest pain points. Oh gosh, if it weren't for my daughter and if it weren't for Elise, I would be sunk when it comes to electronic stuff. Just earlier today, I was doing the newsletter for the week and I could not get Canva to cooperate. I could not get MailChimp to cooperate. I did the whole newsletter and then Canva, for some reason, wouldn't save the project. I tried everything to try to get Canva to save the project. And then I saved the project on the computer, but I am actually using my daughter's computer at the minute, her old computer. It's like a 2009 iMac, because my computer is in the shop getting repaired. So I'm using this old iMac and Canva says, project not saved. Oh my God. I cannot tell you how long I spent trying to get that project to save. And then I followed the instructions. I went, okay, so there are actually instructions that says if you can't save it in Canva, you can save it to your computer by going to File, going to PDF, going to Save, I followed all the steps. I saved it, I thought, in 3 different ways. And when I went to click on the projects on the desktop, they were not saved. I was so frustrated. So I will never be writing computer programs. I will never be working on a professional level with anything to do with technology because that is not in my wheelhouse. It is not part of my destiny or why I am here in the world. It is not my deliverable. My deliverable is to be the best kick-ass psychic, medium, healer, coach, and strategist that I can possibly be. That is my mission on this planet, and to teach you how to be the best that you can be in whatever your field of excellence is in your heart. My big why to inspire, guide you, and show you how to access your intuition, how to build your psychic development to whatever level that you are meant to utilize it in this lifetime. And you can use your intuition with everyday things. You can use your intuition to solve math problems. You can use your intuition to take a certain way to go to work. There's all sorts of things that you can tap into your intuition, into your psychic that can benefit you and people around you without doing this for a living or doing it professionally. Now, I happen to have in my marching orders, right in my astrology chart, it says that I'm meant to be a psychic in this lifetime. And I've known that since I was a kid without even knowing what my astrology chart, what my birth chart looked like. Our astrology chart gives us a lot of information on the foundation of what we came in with and what we came in here to present to the world, what genius we chose to share in this particular lifetime. So let's do a little experience to get you to start moving energy within your body. If you're driving a car or operating machinery or cutting vegetables at this time, please don't do this and come back to it. So be sure that you are safe to be able to be hands-free because you're going to be using your 2 hands for this. So you're going to take your 2 hands and you are going to put your palms together and you are going to rub your hands vigorously. Imagine if it were really, really cold out and maybe you didn't have gloves on and you're trying to warm your hands up. So you're going to rub your hands really, really vigorously. And then you're going to start to notice that they start to feel a little bit tingly. Now, as they become more tingly, you're going to start to take your hands further apart, slowly, moving them away from each other, and notice that you feel that there's some type of energy that is somehow wanting to keep your hands together. There is like an energy ball, if you will, between the palms of your hands. The center of your palms have a chakra. And chakras are spinning wheels of energy. So by doing that, you have just activated the chakras in your hands. Now, when you do Reiki or you do other type of hands-on healing work, even if you do massage therapy, your hand chakras open up and become activated. They turn on. So if you find yourself where if you put your hands on somebody and your hands start to get warm, you are channeling energy. Now, there is a theory that when it comes to Reiki, if you have not had the Reiki attunements, this is a special sort of ceremonial thing that happens when you are working to get your Reiki certifications, and there are 4 different levels. There's the Reiki 1, Reiki 2, Reiki 3, and then there's the Master Reiki. Reiki practitioners believed unless you have the Reiki attunements, you're not channeling Reiki energy. Now, Reiki energy comes from the heart chakra, just one chakra. It's not full spectrum. It's a singular energy. Now, when I first started practicing Reiki at my friend's house, I wasn't attuned for months. And yet, every week after week, I would go and I would put my hands on someone and my hands would heat up and get really hot. So, is it true that I wasn't channeling Reiki? Maybe. I don't know. And that's the position I sort of take on most things is maybe, but I don't know. Because there are so many possibilities in the universe. Who am I to say for sure that I wasn't channeling Reiki? I was channeling something, that's for darn sure. So this work is not exclusive or meant to exclude anyone. You can learn Reiki. You can learn energy medicine. You can learn how to develop your intuition and your psychic to higher levels. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Again, you might not be here in this lifetime to do this professionally, so your level of expertise will get you to so far, or excellence, I should say, because you're not supposed to do this for a living. But it can help you and benefit your life and those around you who you love. So I encourage you, if you have thought about taking a Reiki class, if you've thought about taking an Oracle card class, if you've thought about going to massage therapy school, just do it. What are you waiting for? Just do it. I hope that you have enjoyed this session today, and just giving a really quick recap. We talked about energy medicine. We talked about Reiki. We talked about different modalities, hands-on healing modalities, full spectrum healing. I didn't go too far into depth of any of them. Those things, when you want to go in really deep, that's when you take classes with me. That's when you work with me. But I hope that I've given you enough of a taste to get your palate activated to maybe want to go explore this a little bit. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love and appreciate you so much. Without you, there's no point for me being here, spending my time. But you make a difference. And because of you, you inspire me to sit in front of the mic and hit the record button. Be well, be loved, be safe. I will see you somewhere in the universe and in the next episode. Love y'all. Take good care. Bye for now. Podcast.
This podcast was produced by Alchemy of the Earth Inc. at CynthiaFontaine.com. Producer Elise Spizak, Media Relations LJ Rank, Director Ryan Fontaine, and Sound Engineer David Breton. Please subscribe to patreon.com/boldlyauthentic for exclusive membership bonuses.